Hello and welcome back to the Cleaning Lady podcast. Oh, well, I've had some news this morning and I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's a scam. I don't know. But I opened my emails this morning and I got an email from some kind of podcast status person. They said that my podcast is number one in business in Fiji and it's ranked 11 in all podcasts in Fiji. So I don't know if this is true or not, but I did ask ChatGPT and I did ask Google AI, and apparently it's legitimate. So yeah, I still can't quite believe that though. But yes, thank you to all my lovely listeners over there. I would love to visit actually. Anyway, what's been going on here in England? Well, everything's been going on here in England, my cleaning business, because there's always a drama here. Um, it could be staff dramas, client dramas, just general dramas. And I'd love to say that not much has happened since the last time, but when you're running a cleaning business, there's always something going on. So, this week's drama: vacuum cleaners. Vacuum cleaners, also known as hoovers, we call them hoovers over here, but I think in other countries they're known as vacuum cleaners. So when I say hoover, I mean a vacuum cleaner. I know that Hoover is just a brand, but we all just say hoovers over here. Anyway, so last week, Rafaela was going to go and see if she was going to go back to the new client because they had a terrible hoover. Turned out it was all fine. She went back and she said, it's a bit difficult using this hoover, but I'll deal with it. And I'm so glad that she did, because that client lives quite far away and you need to be able to drive to get there. It takes forever on a bus. So I was really glad that she said that she could carry on doing it, because I've only got one other person that can drive and they're fully booked. And it would be really bad to fire a client over a vacuum cleaner. I mean, it's bad business practice. But it has been done. I don't think I've ever done it, but I did go and meet a new client last week, and this actually happened to her. She was actually sacked by her cleaning company for having a bad vacuum cleaner. So the company that she used to use always used to take their own hoovers and mops and everything else. Suddenly they just stopped doing it, and they asked her to get a new vacuum cleaner because her one, they said, wasn't very good. I mean, God, we've all been there. We've all said, your Hoover's a bit crap. Sorry. Well, not quite like that, but I always say, Hoover, we're really struggling with your Hoover. Is there any chance that you could either get it serviced, or possibly, if you're looking for a replacement, then I'd recommend a Henry. Anyway, um, this client refused to get a new Hoover, and they basically fired her. So she came to us. So she told me the story. And then when I said, "Oh, what vacuum cleaner have you got?" Because I got a bit worried, thinking, "Oh God, it's not going to be like one of those big clunkers, is it?" And she said, "Oh, I got you a Henry just for you." And I was just like, "Yay, a Henry. We love Henrys." So yes, she's our favourite client at the moment. Um, I don't know if I would ever fire a client for having a bad vacuum cleaner. I don't know, but it is so frustrating when a client's vacuum cleaner is shit. I mean, there's no polite way to say it. But clients and their vacuum cleaner, it does seem to be a recurring theme this week, because, since the last episode, I've had two more bad vacuum cleaner encounters to tell you about. So the first was another new client. She was actually a client from years and years ago, pre-pandemic, and then she came back to us recently, and I think she's still got the same vacuum cleaner from before. But anyway, this one has no suction whatsoever. And Linda went to the first clean, and she just said to me, "This vacuum cleaner, it just doesn't work." So she cleaned out all the filters, and she just said that she hopes that it works properly next time. And if it doesn't, she's going to ask them to get it serviced. And if that doesn't work, well, I don't know what we're going to do actually, because uh, who knows? Who knows? She might resort to taking her own on the bus. I don't think so, but that's how desperate it is sometimes. So yes, it does sound terrible to ask a client to get a new vacuum cleaner, but it makes our job so difficult, and it's frustrating when you can't hoover properly, because at the end of the day, it's us, the cleaners, that are using the damn things. It's not the clients. The clients rarely do anything between cleans. I mean, honestly, if I had a cleaner once a week, I probably wouldn't do anything between cleans either. So I'm not blaming them for that at all. Another client that we've had years and years and years, pre-pandemic, I mean, we've had her years. It's funny, isn't it, how we always say pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. But yes, we've had her many, many years. But she's always complained about her floors. She's got hard floors in her flat, but the vacuum cleaner is absolutely terrible and she doesn't have a broom. We've told this woman 1,000 times about her Hoover, and she always says, "Oh, yes, I'll get you a new one," but she never does. Anyway, last week, her cleaner, Caroline, contacted me and sent me a photo on WhatsApp of a picture of the note that the client had left about the floors. And Caroline just said to me afterwards, "I've told this woman a million times about this vacuum cleaner." And I just said, "Yeah, so have I. I mean, it doesn't work." So we had to have a call with this lady. Well, my wonderful right-hand woman did. And the client finally agreed. So basically, she was told, "We absolutely cannot use this vacuum cleaner anymore. It just doesn't work. And we really do need a proper working vacuum cleaner for the next clean. We just can't do it without it." Did she get it this week? No, she didn't. She didn't. But she did leave a note saying that she promises to get it for next week. So we've got everything crossed for that. But seriously, though, you can't work with products and equipment that don't work. Some companies and cleaners, they do take their own equipment. But where we're based, we're in a city. We're right slap bang in the middle of town. And parking is very, very difficult. So my girls take the bus. So we can't carry all our hoovers and mops and cleaning products and cloths and everything else that we need for a clean. We just can't take it on a bus. And also the houses, they're all these old Victorian houses that have all been converted into flats. And so they don't have lifts or elevators. So they don't have lifts, and we have to walk up maybe 7 flights of stairs in some of them if they live on the top floor. I've got one client who lives in one of these, and he always refers to his flat as an apartment, and it drives me mad. It's not a bloody apartment. To me, an apartment is more high end. It's a high end, purpose built block of flats. There's cleaners that go in there once a week to do all the communal hallways. There's parking spaces. There's a lift. But when he contacts me and says, "I haven't been at my apartment this week, so can you just do the fridge? I'm not going to be at my apartment next week, so I don't need a clean." It's like, "Apartment this." "Oh, it's not an apartment." Anyway, it's a flat. In my opinion, it's a flat. But anyway, these little things do get to me. um, Sorry, I went off on one then. Going back to Hoovers. So I went to a house today actually to clean, and they have two of these first edition Dyson cordless vacuum cleaners. They have one for the downstairs and one for the upstairs. Now, they're not bad, but the new ones are so much better for the simple fact that you can empty them much more easily. So you push the thing down and all the dust just comes out and you just empty it into the bin. But the very early ones, you have to kind of press a button and then the bottom of what do you call it? The bit that holds all the dust, that bit just comes down and it releases all the dust into the bin. But it doesn't quite work like that. And you have to, more often than not, get a knife or a skewer or your finger to try and get right round into it to get all the dust out. So that's not so nice. But that reminds me, I said that Henry's are my absolute favourite vacuum cleaner. I actually think that most cleaners favour a Henry above all other vacuum cleaners. Um, but Henry do a cordless version as well. Yes, a dream come true. They are fantastic on carpets, but unlike the Dyson, they don't have a hard floor tool. So what I like about the Dysons is you can actually swap out the head depending on what floor type you've got. So I really, really hope that in the future Henry will have a hard floor attachment. That will make my life so much easier, and then it will be perfect. The corded one and the cordless one. Anyway, this house that I went to today, it was a covered job because one of my cleaners is off sick. So it's a bit out the way. Anyway, I got there, got to the door, realised I'd left my key at home. What a twat. So I had to drive back 20 miles to get the key, went back again, had to go all the way back. And I was just like, oh, for God's sakes. Anyway, I forgot how nice this house was because I haven't been there for a couple of years. And I was there thinking, yeah, I could absolutely live here. This house was stunning. I love modern houses. They're like clean, modern, easy to clean. Well, I say easy to clean. It was modern, but everything was mirrored. So you go in and through the front door, and it's like a big L shaped living area. So it's like you go in, and they've got a desk in there just as you go in before you get to the seating area. The desk is mirrored. Then there's a long, skinny table that backs onto the sofa with candles, etc. Again, mirrored. Then next to the sofa, there's a side table, mirrored. Coffee table, mirrored. TV stand, mirrored. Then you go round the corner and there's this big dining table, also mirrored. The kitchen has another table. Thank God it's not mirrored. But what's as bad as mirrored? Glass, a glass table. So there's this big glass table in the kitchen, and then they've got those glossy kitchen cupboard doors, and it's not a small kitchen. So there's quite a few cupboard doors, and all the internal doors in this place are glass too. So most of my time was spent cleaning all this glass and mirrored surfaces, trying not to leave streaks. And then upstairs, in the bedroom, there were mirrored bedside tables, chests of drawers that were mirrored, the dressing table was mirrored, and then there was a closet with 4 sliding doors, which are all mirrored. I think I used a whole bottle of glass cleaner in that place, but it looked lovely. And I can honestly say the upkeep would drive me mad if I lived there. And I used to have a client who had these floor tiles as well. I think that's even worse, having these glossy mirror, almost mirror like floor tile. They were very, very shiny, but every time the client mopped, she said that it just left streaks. So I said to her, look, if you get one of these e-mops, they're like a microfiber mop pad. You just use that and it will be completely streak free, be brilliant. But that's until you walk on it, of course. So the other things that have happened this week, other than covering while I'm 2 cleaners down, it's the time of year where I put the prices up, and I always do this annually. I usually increase it by £1 an hour, but this year, quite a few of the cleaners have asked if they could have a little bit more, like a £2 increase, because there is a cost of living crisis going on at the moment. So I was really nervous about emailing everyone, but I gave them a choice and I just explained the cost of living, and if they would consider increasing it by £2, it would be very much appreciated. It's not expected, no pressure, but I was really glad because actually everyone replied and said that they would pay the extra £2. So, woohoo! Um, but I do always feel a little bit nervous when I put the price up because I have had some bad experiences in the past where I've had a client leave because they didn't want to pay the extra £1 an hour. But then, yes, you do lose the client, but you gain clients that are better and that are happy to pay what the cleaners are worth. We know what we're doing, we're fully insured, and we're a professional company. So why shouldn't the girls get paid well? Last year, actually, when I put the price up, I got an email saying, could you tell me what I'm getting? What extra I'm getting for the extra £1 an hour? I don't think she really understood, to be honest. And then talking about money, I had another client who always had 3 hours a week. And then they asked if we could go down to 2 hours a week. And I said, yeah, that's absolutely fine, but we're not going to be able to do everything that we usually do. So could you just let me know what you'd like us to miss out? And she said, oh, I don't want you to miss anything. And I said, well, a whole hour, we're not going to be able to do quite a lot because an hour is quite a lot of time. So we're probably going to have to miss one of the bathrooms or maybe miss a couple of the bedrooms or something like that. Um, Anyway, she just said, "Oh, well, let's keep it at 3." And then a few months later, she left. But yes, another time when I've increased the price, I did have a client say something about her paying a premium price, but not getting a premium service, so she was going elsewhere. And the thing was, she actually was getting a premium service. And I know that cleaning is subjective. I know that. But I honestly feel that we offer a premium service. Funnily enough, this client came back to me a couple of months later, and I remember her voicemail. And she said, I've had some horrendous experiences with other companies, and I'm just ringing to see if you can take me back, if you can fit me in again. And I remember thinking, shall I make this easy for her or not? Of course I did. I'm not nasty. But part of me wanted to say, told you so. Anyway, I remember she used to have fortnightly cleans, and the company that she used during the time that she left us they were basically quite rude to her. And then she tried another one, and they said that they couldn't guarantee which day of the week it would be, and that it would be a different person each time. So I always give my clients a set day. They've got their own cleaning slot with the same cleaner each week. So anyway, I welcomed her back, not quite with open arms, but I did welcome her back. And I think she realized that what we were offering was actually a premium service. But then she moved house. And then after, I think it must have been about a year, she came back to us to resume cleaning. And she said to me, oh, I've been using another company. Like, did she not learn anything? Anyway, this time I just said we didn't have space. I wasn't rude or anything, but I just thought if she doesn't value our service and always wants to look elsewhere and then comes back when the other one doesn't work out, well, that's not really the kind of client that I want, to be honest. So I've just had a text message. You may have heard it going off in the background just now. I've just read it. It's from a client wanting to know if I can give them a call. So that's never a good sign, is it? So I'm feeling a bit nervous. You know, when a client contacts you and says, "Can you give me a call?" You know, it's not going to be, "Oh, can we go from 2 hours fortnightly to 8 hours a week, please?" There's going to be an issue. There's always going to be like, "Oh, something's not right, something's not happy." And it's the same when you can see on WhatsApp that they send photos and you think, "Ah, shit, what's happened?" But actually sometimes it's just, a picture of where they've hidden the key that week, so, but yeah, when they say that they want you to give them a call, you know there's you know that it's not gonna be good news. So I'll let you know about that next week. Anyway, that's it for today. Have a great weekend, happy cleaning, and I will be back next time.